Initially, I felt quite sorry for Blake Lively. Then I've been reading all the messages between them all, and absolute weapons-grade narcissist.
Look, I went through the 160-page. Blake Lively is a complete nightmare. She has the audacity to call her husband and Taylor Swift her dragons.
Wilkie Farr said, and by the way, this is Wilkie Farr are Blake Lively's lawyers. If you want to read along here, they said, "Our plan at docket 49 is no longer feasible. Counsel for Wayfarer did not tell us that they planned to file an amended complaint, including a 168 compendium, which is essentially all those text messages."
Hollywood. The very word conjures a realm of shimmering illusions, where dreams are manufactured and sold to a global audience, eager for escapism and inspiration. We are drawn to the allure of celebrity, captivated by figures who seem to exist on a plane beyond the mundane realities of our own lives. Blake Lively, with her radiant smile and seemingly effortless ascent to stardom, embodies this manufactured dream. She represents a carefully curated ideal. Talent, beauty, success, and a picture-perfect personal life all seamlessly interwoven. But in an age of unprecedented access and relentless scrutiny, the question lingers: can such meticulously crafted perfection truly exist? Or is it, by its very nature, a carefully constructed facade, designed to enchant and engage, but ultimately concealing a more complex, perhaps less pristine reality? As we peel back the layers of celebrity image, we must ask ourselves, are we seeking authentic connection, or are we complicit in perpetuating the very illusions we claim to admire? And what happens when a figure known for his iconoclastic approach and disdain for artifice, like Piers Morgan, decides to challenge the carefully constructed narrative? We are about to embark on an exploration of the celebrity dream factory, its inherent contradictions, and the potential for seismic shifts when the forces of manufactured image and unyielding scrutiny collide.
Blake sort of saw that as, oh, you're trying to use an Amber Heard tactic, but she didn't even realize, like, that's not a good defense. That means you're guilty because Blake, Amber lied, dropped a lawsuit with all his texts, cherry-picked those texts, removed emojis and intent and backstory to these texts.
Literally outright deleted certain sections of the text.
Yes.
It is so offensive and so ridiculous.
Blake Lively isn't just a name. It's a carefully constructed brand, meticulously cultivated over years to represent the quintessential American sweetheart. Her rise wasn't meteoric, but rather a steady, strategic ascent, beginning with the teen drama Gossip Girl, which provided the perfect platform to showcase not just her acting ability, but also her innate charisma and effortless style. Consider her red carpet appearances, each one a masterclass in understated elegance, projecting an image of accessible glamour, a star who looks dazzling yet relatable. Her interviews are equally crafted, peppered with witty anecdotes and self-deprecating humor, designed to reinforce the perception of a down-to-earth personality amidst the whirlwind of Hollywood excess. Even her social media presence, while seemingly personal, is carefully managed, offering glimpses into a seemingly idyllic family life with Ryan Reynolds, further solidifying her image as not just a successful actress, but also a devoted wife and mother, the ultimate aspirational figure. Think about her public interactions with fans. Always gracious, approachable, reinforcing the girl next door narrative, even as she inhabits mansions and graces magazine covers. This carefully architected charm is not accidental. It's the result of years of strategic image management, a deep understanding of public perception, and a consistent effort to cultivate a persona that resonates deeply with audiences seeking both aspiration and relatability. She has built a kingdom of goodwill, founded on the bedrock of perceived authenticity, making any challenge to this carefully constructed image all the more impactful and potentially damaging. But in the ever-shifting sands of public opinion, even the most meticulously crafted foundations can face unexpected tremors.
The same PR rep who repped Johnny, who was behind this, Blake sort of saw that as, oh, you're trying to use an Amber Heard tactic, but she didn't even realize, like, that's not a good defense. That means you're guilty because Blake, Amber lied.
Even for a celebrity as skillfully managed and universally admired as Blake Lively, the relentless intensity of the modern spotlight inevitably reveals minor imperfections, moments where the carefully constructed facade hints at the complexities beneath. The 2022 Met Gala dress transformation is a prime example. While intended as a dazzling display of fashion innovation and theatrical flair, the spectacle of a gown-changing color on the red carpet, using elaborate technology, was met with a surprising undercurrent of criticism. In a world grappling with economic anxieties and growing awareness of environmental responsibility, the sheer extravagance of the moment struck some as tone-deaf, a display of opulent excess that felt out of sync with broader societal concerns. The critiques weren't necessarily about the dress itself, but rather the perception it projected, a disconnect from the realities faced by many viewers. Similarly, seemingly innocuous past comments, when revisited through a contemporary lens, have occasionally sparked minor ripples. Her remarks about wedding planning being the most fun project of her life, while perhaps intended to express genuine excitement, were interpreted by some as insensitive, highlighting a privileged perspective that failed to acknowledge the financial and emotional burdens wedding planning can represent for many. These instances, while not earth-shattering scandals, are significant because they represent chinks in the armor of perfection, moments where the carefully polished image momentarily loses its flawless sheen. They demonstrate the heightened sensitivity of audiences to perceived privilege and inauthenticity, and how even minor missteps can be amplified in the age of social media, becoming fodder for online discourse and public questioning. These are the subtle fault lines that figures like Piers Morgan are adept at identifying and exploiting, recognizing that even the most seemingly impenetrable facade can be vulnerable to targeted pressure.
Justin Baldoni's attorneys got back regarding that filing, and they basically called them out, as they always do. And I'm going to show you what they said. They said, given how actively the Lively parties have publicized and litigated Ms. Lively's claims in the media, we are surprised to now learn how vehemently she wants to prevent the public from accessing material and relevant evidence.
Piers Morgan embodies the role of the celebrity disruptor, a figure who thrives on challenging the carefully constructed narratives and manufactured realities of the entertainment world. He's not a passive observer. He's an active participant in the celebrity discourse, wielding his platform like a rhetorical weapon, unafraid to offend and often seeming to relish the ensuing controversy. Consider his history of targeting figures perceived as embodying hypocrisy or inauthenticity. From Meghan Markle, whom he relentlessly criticized for perceived inconsistencies and manufactured victimhood, to numerous celebrities he's accused of virtue signaling or being out of touch with the realities of everyday life. He isn't interested in nuanced critique. His style is confrontational, often bordering on aggressive, designed to elicit strong reactions and dominate the news cycle. Think about his interviewing style: sharp, probing, often interrupting and challenging his guests, pushing them to defend their positions and expose any perceived weaknesses in their carefully crafted public personas. He operates on the premise that celebrity culture is inherently performative and often disingenuous, and his mission, as he sees it, is to expose the artifice to hold the famous accountable to a standard of authenticity that he himself defines. His motivation is complex, a blend of genuine skepticism towards celebrity culture, a canny understanding of what generates ratings and headlines, and perhaps a degree of personal ambition to remain at the center of the cultural conversation. The impact of his approach is undeniable. He commands a vast audience. His opinions resonate with a segment of the population disillusioned with celebrity culture, and his pronouncements often set the agenda for online debates and media discussions. He is the agent of chaos in the meticulously ordered world of celebrity PR, the figure who delights in puncturing bubbles of perfection and forcing uncomfortable conversations. And when he turns his sights on a figure as seemingly untouchable as Blake Lively, the potential for disruption is significant.
Asking for the gag order and explaining how he's talking too much. He's threatening to post stuff on public sites. So what I think is, this looks good for Baldoni, right? He's like, we want to make it all public. And sometimes lawyers can do this knowing that they can't actually do what they say they're going to do.
The provocative title's assertion of lies isn't necessarily about factual falsehoods, but rather taps into a far more complex and pervasive aspect of celebrity culture, the spectrum of untruths that permeate the carefully constructed world of fame. These lies aren't always deliberate deceptions. They can manifest as omissions, strategic exaggerations, carefully curated narratives, and the inherent pressure to present an idealized version of oneself to the public. Consider the lie of effortless perfection, the unspoken agreement that celebrities should appear perpetually flawless, despite the inevitable human struggles and imperfections that lie beneath the surface. Think about the lie of relatability, the carefully crafted persona designed to make incredibly wealthy and privileged individuals seem like one of us, despite the vast chasm of experience that separates them from the average viewer. Explore the lie of authenticity itself, the paradox of performing authenticity, of meticulously crafting a public persona that appears genuine while still remaining fundamentally a constructed image. In Piers Morgan's critical framework, these subtle forms of untruth are just as culpable as outright falsehoods. He is less concerned with proving factual inaccuracies and more focused on exposing the artifice, the curated nature of celebrity image, and the inherent disconnect between public persona and private reality. The lie, in this context, is the entire edifice of celebrity image-making, the unspoken contract between star and audience to accept a polished, often idealized, and ultimately constructed version of the truth. And the accusation of lies becomes a potent weapon designed to dismantle the carefully constructed facade and force a confrontation with the underlying complexities and contradictions of celebrity culture. It's about challenging the very foundation upon which celebrity adoration is built, the often unspoken acceptance of a certain degree of manufactured reality. Imagine Piers Morgan launching a full-scale critique of Blake Lively. What would be the anatomy of his attack? His strategy wouldn't be scattershot, it would be targeted, methodical, and designed to inflict maximum damage on her carefully constructed image. Firstly, he would likely dissect the narrative of effortless success, questioning the inherent privilege that undoubtedly plays a role in Hollywood. He might draw attention to her family background, subtly implying that her path to stardom was paved with advantages unavailable to most aspiring actors. He could scrutinize her early career, downplaying her talent and emphasizing the role of connections and fortuitous circumstances. To illustrate perceived inconsistencies, he might invent a hypothetical scenario, perhaps unearthing an old interview where she expressed a seemingly contradictory viewpoint on a social issue compared to her current public stance, framing it as evidence of inauthenticity or calculated image management. He could dissect her philanthropic endeavors, questioning the sincerity of her charitable work, suggesting it's merely a PR exercise designed to enhance her public image rather than stemming from genuine altruism. His language would be sharp, accusatory, employing loaded terms like hypocrisy, phony, and out of touch, designed to provoke outrage and generate online controversy. He would leverage his television platform to conduct segments dedicated to dissecting her perceived flaws, inviting guests who would echo his criticisms and amplify the negative narrative. Social media would become a battleground, with Morgan using his considerable online presence to disseminate his critiques, engage with supporters, and directly target Lively and her fanbase. The attack wouldn't be a polite disagreement, it would be a calculated dismantling, a public dissection of her persona, designed to expose what he perceives as the inherent inauthenticity beneath the polished surface, aiming to shatter the illusion of effortless perfection and force a reckoning with the realities of celebrity privilege and manufactured image.
That she became uncomfortable with Justin Baldoni yesterday while she was filming. She states that Mr. Baldoni put his bare hands on her backside and said that he was trying to help her with her posture. Complainant immediately voiced her displeasure with being touched on an intimate part of her body, and Mr. Baldoni responded with, "It's fine, I'm totally hot for my wife," in a dismissive tone.
The term humiliation in the context of celebrity critique isn't about personal shame in the traditional sense. It's about the very public and often brutal process of image dismantling, the potential for significant and lasting damage to a carefully constructed brand. When a figure like Piers Morgan launches a sustained attack, the consequences can extend far beyond hurt feelings. The immediate impact is a surge of intense public scrutiny, a relentless barrage of online commentary, media articles, and television discussions, all dissecting and debating the validity of the criticisms. This intense attention, even if ultimately unfounded, can take a significant emotional toll, subjecting the celebrity to a torrent of negativity and questioning their carefully cultivated self-image. Beyond the personal impact, there are tangible career consequences. Brands might become hesitant to associate with a celebrity embroiled in controversy, fearing reputational damage by proxy. Film and television projects could be jeopardized, as studios become wary of casting individuals facing public backlash. The long-term effect is a potential erosion of public goodwill, a subtle but significant shift in perception that can make it harder to maintain the same level of adoration and support. The humiliation is in the public shaming, the forced exposure of perceived flaws, and the potential for lasting damage to the carefully crafted persona that is so essential to a celebrity's career and identity. It's a public trial by media, where the verdict, even if ultimately unfair, can have profound and lasting repercussions. The power dynamic is stark. A single influential voice like Piers Morgan wielding his platform to challenge and potentially dismantle the carefully built image of a celebrity, highlighting the precarious nature of fame and the ever-present threat of public opinion, turning against even the most beloved figures.
I defend Justin Baldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie. But he is the most overly feminized man I've had to endure in recent history. Everything he says is self-flagellating over the fact that he's a man. But he's, to me, is sort of the embodiment of what happens when you totally emasculate a man. And then she continued, she took that stiletto and stuck it in his heart when he was down there self-flagellating, being so sorry for anything having to do with his testosterone.
Faced with a hypothetical Piers Morgan onslaught, Blake Lively would need to employ sophisticated crisis management strategies, navigating a treacherous landscape of public opinion and media scrutiny. Silence, as a tactic, is a double-edged sword. It can starve the controversy of oxygen, allowing the initial storm to dissipate, relying on the public's short attention span and pre-existing goodwill to weather the turbulence. However, silence can also be interpreted as weakness or an admission of guilt by some, allowing the negative narrative to solidify unchallenged. A more proactive approach might involve a carefully calibrated indirect response. This could manifest as subtly addressing the themes of authenticity and public image in future interviews, perhaps with self-deprecating humor and a renewed emphasis on genuine connection with her audience, without directly engaging with Morgan's specific accusations, thereby avoiding giving him the direct confrontation he likely craves. Alternatively, a direct but meticulously managed response could be considered. This might involve a carefully worded statement released through her publicist, acknowledging the criticisms without validating them, perhaps reframing the narrative around the pressures of celebrity and the inherent challenges of maintaining authenticity in the public eye. Social media could be used strategically, perhaps showcasing genuine moments of connection with fans or highlighting charitable work, subtly reinforcing her positive image and pushing back against the negative narrative without directly engaging in a mudslinging match with Morgan. The key to successful crisis management would be to maintain control of the narrative, to reassure her fan base, to subtly deflect the criticisms, and to ultimately emerge from the storm with her carefully crafted image relatively intact. It's a delicate dance, a high-stakes game of public perception, requiring strategic thinking, emotional resilience, and a deep understanding of the ever-shifting dynamics of celebrity culture.
In Blake's first amended complaint, Blake changed what she alleges about what happened while filming the slow dance scene, now that the footage has been released for everyone to see. So what they're saying is, now that, Justin Baldoni shared the truth of what it looks like, they're no longer making the same claims. Previously, they said Miss Lively was filming a slow dance scene for a montage in which no sound was recorded. Of course, Justin proved there was sound. Mr. Baldoni chose to let the camera roll and have them perform the scene, but did not act in character as Ryle. Instead, he spoke to Miss Lively out of character as himself.
The hypothetical clash between Piers Morgan and Blake Lively, even if rooted in speculation rather than a concrete event, serves as a potent illustration of the ongoing tension at the heart of modern celebrity culture, the ever-widening chasm between manufactured image and the elusive ideal of authenticity. In the digital age, where every move is scrutinized and every utterance dissected, the pressure to maintain a flawless facade has intensified, even as audiences become increasingly cynical and demanding of genuine connection. Figures like Piers Morgan, acting as self-appointed arbiters of truth and authenticity, thrive in this environment of skepticism, challenging the carefully constructed narratives and holding celebrities to often unrealistic standards. The question we are left with is not simply whether celebrity images are lies, but rather, what is the ethical responsibility of public figures in crafting their personas? Is it possible to be both a commercially successful celebrity, operating within a system that inherently relies on manufactured image, and also maintain a meaningful degree of authenticity? And ultimately, what is the price of fame in an era where the boundaries between public and private are increasingly blurred, and the pursuit of perfect image can become a relentless and ultimately unsustainable burden? The unfolding drama of celebrity in the digital age is a constant negotiation between these competing forces, a perpetual dance between the desire for manufactured dreams and the yearning for something real. And as the lines continue to blur, the potential for both spectacular rises and dramatic falls in the world of fame remains as volatile and captivating as ever. What future awaits the carefully constructed celebrity image in a world that increasingly questions the very nature of reality itself?